This evening, the National Toshaos Council Conference commenced after a 2-year hiatus. Fire got housed at McKenzie, Linden. The Government Analysis Food and Drug Department recalls Jergens Ultra healing moisturizer, citing possible health concerns. In the region, Argentina, Vice President corruption trial enters its final stage, and internationally, Kenya's protest against high prices national debt as vote nears. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. After a 2-year hiatus, Toshaos and other leaders from 212 Amerindian villages are meeting in Georgetown for 5 days National Toshaos Council Conference at the Arthur Chung Convention Center at Liliendaal. This year, the conference is being held under the theme Good Governance and Fast-Tracking Amerindian Development. During the conference, Toshaos and other leaders from various Amerindian villages will engage with the President, government ministers, and other officials from various government agencies. On the opening day of the conference, 7 Amerindian communities received absolute grants and certificates of title for their lands. The Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, made a welcome announcement.
Land titling remains paramount on our government's agenda. This speaks volume of the effort to address land titling and demarcation of lands to Amerindians across our country.
Minister Sukai said the government had registered its commitment to Amerindian development and empowerment through the land title program.
The ministry is pursuing the approval for 2 years extension for accomplishing once and for all the completion of titling and demarcation of Amerindian lands.
$61.6 million were allocated in the 2022 national budget for the allocating of land titles for Amerindian villages. Also, at the National Toshaos Council Conference on Monday, Minister Sukai stated that the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs has set aside $10 million to commence the consultation process leading up to the revision of the Amerindian Act No. 6 of 2006. Minister Sukai said the fund would ensure the setting up of a committee, the modalities of the consultation, and the training of facilitators who will be taking up the ardent task. The Amerindian Act, Act No. 6 of 2006, provides for the recognition and protection of the collective rights of the Amerindians, the granting of land, and the promotion of good governance within their villages. Meanwhile, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali announced at the National Toshaos Council Conference on Monday that Toshaos and Deputy Toshaos would get a 50% increase in their stipends, moving from $30,000 to $45,000 and $20,000 to $30,000 respectively. Additionally, senior councillors of the Amerindian communities will also benefit from an increase from $15,000 to $25,000, while the stipends for regional councillors from the 10 administrative regions will move from $10,000 to $30,000. President Ali noted that the government have always believed in dialogue with indigenous leaders as a means of identifying issues and devising solutions on how to advance the lives of the once marginalized group.
Not just because we want to do it, but because you are no different from the rest of the population, and you must be treated in the same respect, with the same dignity and honor like all of the population. Those are the fundamental principles that we adhere to, that we support.
The President stated that the ongoing outreach efforts taking place in the various regions serve as evidence of this. He further stated that the government ministers and other departments and agency heads have so far visited 97 of the Amerindian settlements. President Ali noted that village leaders have also supported the government's quest to meet every community. Over the past 2 years, the government has invested over $50 billion in advancement of the Amerindian communities and its people to improve health and education, water delivery, community infrastructure, agricultural support, tourism, youth education and training, and social assistance for residents. Incense, a fragrant biological substance that burns to produce fragrant smoke. Unfortunately, this seemingly innocent activity has caused a woman in Linden to lose everything in her home, as the source explains.
The hell's done with it? Oh my God.
Police in Regional Division 10 are reporting a fire of unknown origin that ravaged the dwelling house of 36-year-old Joanne Semple, a security guard residing at Lot 455 Moralisa Street, McKenzie, Linden, which occurred on Monday. The Linden fire station responded to a call of the fire at a location immediately. They extinguished the fire, which destroyed the inside of the upper flat of the two-story wooden and concrete structure. Joanne Semple resides with her 61-year-old reputed husband, Malcolm Archer, who sells incense and would usually light the same around the house. Semple said she warned him repeatedly about the unsafe practice because of his forgetfulness. Inquiries disclosed that around 5:30 a.m. Archer lit incense and stuck same on a wall inside the eastern bedroom and traveled to Georgetown. At 6:30 a.m., Semple secured her home, leaving everything intact, and proceeded to work, unaware that her husband had lit the incense in the house. While at work, she received a call from her neighbor who informed her that her house was on fire. She immediately rushed home, where she observed thick black smoke emanating from inside her home. The scene was processed, photographs and statements were taken, and investigation is ongoing. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The Guyana Cancer Foundation has issued a statement notifying the general public that McLennan is not a doctor and there are no records showing he is registered at the Medical Council of Guyana. McLennan had applied as a volunteer with the Cancer Foundation. However, persons from the media and others called to confirm that he is not a doctor. The Guyana Cancer Foundation questioned him about his medical degree and he refused to send a copy of it to them. He said he is working as a medical officer pharmacist at ROK Pharmacy. Nevertheless, McLennan is no longer affiliated with the Guyana Cancer Foundation. Shortly after the Guyana Cancer Foundation posted their advisory stating that McLennan had lied about being a doctor to join the organization, the young man has asserted the opposite. In an interview with the newsroom, McLennan stated that the foundation's president and founder, Bibi Hassan, was aware of his status as a medical student in his final year at the University of Guyana when he joined the organization about 3 weeks ago. He said shortly after he joined the team at the foundation as a medical personnel, several questions arose, but he denied that he presented himself as a medical doctor. Stick around after the break. The Government Analysis Food and Drug Department recalls Jergens Ultra Healing Moisturizer, citing possible health concerns, and quarantine man remanded to prison for the murder of his neighbor.
Traveling soon? Then come into John Lewis Styles on Waterloo Street and let's help you choose the right set of luggage. You can choose to buy 3-piece luggage sets, or separate pieces, but the sets are always a better deal. Either available in soft poly, or ABS hard side material, with 4-wheeled spinners, and in many colors too. Also available are carry-on luggage, computer bags, duffel bags, backpacks, travel pillows, blankets and lots more to make your trip enjoyable. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
They say that when it hits you, it hits you. A feeling so strong that it's impossible not to give in to a juicy piece of KFC. To feel elevated by the aroma and to free fall into its exciting flavor. Some call it love, attraction, desire. We call it KFC. Ignite your senses with KFC.
Welcome back. The Government Analysis Food and Drug Department is notifying all consumers that Jergens manufacturer KAO USA Incorporated, together with its distributor Massey Distribution Ghana Incorporated, voluntarily recall its Jergens 10-ounce Ultra Healing Moisturizer with affected lot number ZU722771 due to possible health risks. The potential risk is due to the presence of a bacterium which poses little medical risk to healthy people. However, people with certain health problems such as weakened immune system may be more susceptible to infection. The Government Analysis Food and Drug Department is therefore urging consumers to discontinue the use of the specified recall lotion as a precautionary measure and to be under alert when purchasing, since this product may still be in circulation. Consumers who have products from the recalled lot should contact the distributor on telephone numbers 220-8189 extension 179. Assistance will be provided for the product return. In addition, any adverse events to the use of the product should be reported via email or telephone number on the screen. A quarantine man appeared in court to answer charges for the murder of his neighbor. Esther Sobers has more details.
A quarantine man was on court remanded to prison when he appeared at the Wim Magistrate Court to answer to the charge of murder of a 47-year-old farmer, Rameshwar Sydney of Bushlot Village in Quarantine Berbice. 47-year-old Bayula Jai Prasad of Lot 184, Bushlot Village, Quarantine Berbice, appeared before Magistrate Renita Singh and was not required to plead to the indictable charge that alleged on Friday, July 8, 2022, at his residence, he fatally stabbed Sydney. The court heard that Sydney had returned to his house from his farm around 1 p.m. when he was approached by his neighbor, who invited him over. The farmer's nephew Randy Sydney claims that his uncle accepted the invitation and proceeded to the neighbor's house, but when afterwards seen running back to the farmer's house with a knife in his neck, Randy recalled that his uncle made it to his yard but collapsed immediately after, causing panic among relatives, who had to muster the courage to pick up the injured man and rush him to the Port Mourant hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Jai Prasad was remanded to prison and will make his next court appearance on August 11. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. A party of police ranks conducted an intelligence-led operation that spanned several areas in Regional Police Division 3 on Sunday, July 10th, between 10 hours and 16 hours. A 21-year-old was found with 1 gram of cannabis at Tushin Market Square. A 25-year-old male was found with 1 gram of cannabis at the Kensington West Coast Demerara, and a 35-year-old male from Virgin Eugene East Bank Essequibo was searched by the police ranks and found to have 1 gram of suspected cannabis. The trio were arrested and taken to the Lenora police station. Also acting on information, ranks searched an abandoned lot at 38 the Kensington West Coast Demerara, where 2 black plastic bags were found. The bags contain a number of seeds, leaves and stems suspected to be cannabis. The same was collected and taken to the Lenora police station, where it was weighed and amounted to 4,651 grams. The marijuana was sealed and lodged at the said station. Don't go away after the break. Kenya's protest against high prices, national debt as vote nears, and Sri Lanka Parliament to hold vote on July 20th for new president.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Ruimveldt or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Mourant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Traveling soon? Then come into John Lewis Styles on Waterloo Street and let's help you choose the right set of luggage. You can choose to buy 3-piece luggage sets or separate pieces, but the sets are always a better deal. Either available in soft poly or ABS hard side material with 4-wheeled spinners and in many colors too. Also available are carry-on luggage, computer bags, duffel bags, backpacks, travel pillows, blankets and lots more to make your trip enjoyable. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. The last phase of the corruption trial of Argentina's vice president is underway in Buenos Aires. Prosecution of former presidents in Latin America are common, usually under incoming governments. Al Jazeera's Daniel Schimler reports.
The trial into alleged corruption by Argentina's former president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner, resumed online, entering its final phase with verdicts expected before the end of the year. Kirchner, along with 12 other defendants, including 2 former cabinet ministers, is accused of irregularities in awarding public works projects. She denies the charges, speaking here at the start of proceedings against her.
This is a formidable maneuver of political persecution and media harassment. Its real targets are those who represent, at least symbolically, the most important process of social inclusion and economic transformation that's ever taken place, and that has included millions of Argentines.
The current president, Alberto Fernández, gave testimony on her behalf earlier in the trial. However, she is a divisive figure in Argentina, enjoying massive support among trade unionists and in working class districts, the target of anger at anti-government protests at the weekend.
We want to continue being a country that is free, without Cristina, because everything that's happening is her fault.
Cristina Kirchner is accused of irregularities in granting contracts to this man, Lázaro Báez, to build public works in the far south of Argentina. He's already serving 12 years in prison for money laundering. Many of the works he carried out were overpriced and some remain unfinished. Cristina Kirchner was president of Argentina from 2007 to 2015. Her late husband Nestor was president before her. She's the current vice president, and it's strongly rumoured that she's likely to run again for the top job in elections next year. But only, of course, if she's found not guilty. The prosecution in Latin America of former presidents is common, usually under incoming governments. In Brazil, Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, Evo Morales and Jeanine Áñez in Bolivia, Rafael Correa in Ecuador, and here in Argentina, Mauricio Macri. They all say they're victims of political persecution. Some end up behind bars, others get off to return to the political fray. Daniel Schweimner, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Internationally, in Kenya, demonstrators on the streets of Nairobi are showing their frustrations ahead of August general elections. People are unhappy about rising prices, stagnating wages, and a large national debt. Al Jazeera's Katrina Soy reports.
Protests like this in Kenya have become frequent. This time, they're speaking out against the rising cost of basic food prices. Many people here say life has become unbearable, and a general election in August is making things more difficult. Julia Manyonyi is a casual worker. On a good month, she earns about $100, so every coin counts. She says the cost of her basic supplies have doubled in the last few months.
We're struggling to make ends meet. Maize flour has doubled. Cooking oil has become unaffordable. My children and I have adjusted our food rations so I can balance all my needs.
Voters are electing a president, MPs, senators, governors, and other electoral seats.
Politicians are using this campaign season to promise that they will fix the economy, but many voters are not convinced. They say they are disillusioned and they don't trust their leaders.
Economists say a new government will find it hard to lessen the burden for most people. This is partly because of a huge public debt. Much of the money has been borrowed from China for large projects like this expressway. Some government officials have also been accused of corruption by inflating costs.
Whoever takes over as president, this is the devil's breakfast. You have just ordered the devil's breakfast. We are almost $100 billion by the time they take over, $100 billion in public debt. Yeah. We're now borrowing to pay interest on previous borrowing.
Back at Manyonyi's family home, she prepares a basic meal. She's behind on her rent and school fees. She's running out of ways to make more money. She tells us she's living in incredibly desperate times. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Nairobi.
And finally, Sri Lanka's parliament will hold a vote on July 20th to elect a new president, its speaker has said, to replace President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who has promised to resign by Wednesday. Al Jazeera's Manelli Fernandez reports.
Protesters who overran key political landmarks on Saturday say they are staying till the president and prime minister resign. Thousands of others are streaming in to visit the official residences and this property, the presidential secretariat.
We need a new system. We need a new governance. We need proper leaders. So today we are here to change that and to bring this nation, our country, to a stable position. We are fighting until the end.
That end seems close, but protesters are not leaving. They are angry and fed up with having to spend days in queues and to find the money to buy essentials, which have increased 3 to 5 times in price. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says he will resign on Wednesday. Political parties in parliament will elect a new president a week later.
A government has to function according to the law. I'm here to protect the Constitution and through it fulfill the people's demands. What we need today is an all-party government and we will take steps to establish that.
Getting agreement among different parties won't be easy, and there are warnings that it shouldn't take too long.
The central bank governor has said that there has to be political stability very quickly in order to have the international community, the International Monetary Fund with whom negotiations are taking place, in order to ensure that that support comes in.
Anger against the president and his government have been building for months. The lack of fuel has had a major impact on people's lives. On Monday, a few fuel stations received new supplies.
For 5 days we have to wait for the queue, but they are giving 1,500 rupees for the bikes. That means 3 liters. 3 liters not enough for us. We are working in the courier service. That is only for 1 day it's enough.
As negotiations continue about a peaceful transition of power, people are hoping this brings them some relief. Manelli Fernandez, Al Jazeera, Colombo.
And that is it for today's regional and international news. Here now is your 30-minute forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.